one. That means wind speeds are at least 120, 130 miles an hour. I can see, yeah, well defined.
Let's hold on to that shot, too.
Yeah.
In fact, we're probably a little bit closer than I thought we were. We're going to put it, I thought that was the woodlands we were looking at a couple of minutes ago. Yeah, it's going to be just a little bit to the north and east of the woodlands. And boy, it is really beginning to widen even as, hold on just a minute here. Now we're going to lose the signal for a second, but don't go away. There we go.
All right.
It does appear as though, boy, we've got some tremendous rotation here, Pete, and it is pretty wide at the base. I'd have to say probably a few hundred yards wide at the base. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get any closer for you. Blake, you got that okay? Or you
no, that's fine.
It's very difficult for us to see in the monitor here exactly the location.
No, you're getting...
Okay, hang on just a minute. All right, we're going to turn south here. Hold on to that shot. You're going to see a little bit of the back of News Chopper 9. Again, this tornado is on the ground. On the ground, it appears to be north and east of the woodlands and moving through the western part of Wyandotte County. Blake, are you able to see it at all? Okay.
Yeah, we lost it there briefly, but yeah,
it's still on the ground. Still on the ground. This one from Wyandotte County, very difficult to tell. We're right at the Turner Diagonal now, actually 57th Street and I-70. It looks as though it's going to be about 5 miles, 4 miles to the north of that. Now, we talked about it was rain-wrapped a while ago, and boy, I got to tell you, Pete, this thing, as well as you can see, is almost straight up and down, and that does not bode well. This looks like a very, very intense thunderstorm at this point, correction, tornado at this point, and it is, as you can see, very wide. I would have to tell you a guess from where we are right now is that it's a quarter to a half a mile wide. And again, it is just, it might be, as a matter of fact, now right along the river, past the north bluff of KCK there, between the north and south bluff of the river. Now we're seeing some more.
Johnny, we've zoomed in on the radar, and you're right, it is crossing the river now, and that is Parkville we're looking at?
That would be Parkville, probably, if not due north of it, maybe a little bit to the east of it, but it would be very, very close. So it looks like, yeah, it is making a beeline for Parkville right now. We're going to come around the west side here, turbulence permitting, and probably as we do this, we're going to cross a damage path, and we'll let you know what that looks like. But it is definitely still on the ground. It looks like once we get to the other side of this, that we're going to be able to track it with a little more definition, if you will, because of the lighting situation. I believe you can still see it there, just a little bit to the north of the bluffs. And again, we're losing a little bit of sight of it. It appears as though it's moving pretty rapidly now to the north and east. And it does seem, though, so it did track on a southwest to northeast direction.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I mean, when you talked about the river, we zoomed in on pinpoint 9 Doppler radar, and it's on the bottom left corner of our screen there. And the back end of that storm where the tornado is now crossing the river. It's just barely southwest of Parkville. And those of you in Parkville, you need to
take cover immediately.
Yeah, take cover immediately.
All right, now we have, we're seeing along, I believe this is going to be State Avenue, a lot of emergency equipment moving westbound along State Avenue. Here's it looks like a KCK police officer. Again, we have not spotted any damage yet, but we don't think that we have crossed the damage path.
John, are you actually flying like west direction now?
We are north and westbound, just north and west of well, we're due east, I should say, of the woodlands at this point. And hang on, we're getting into some turbulence here. But we have yet to see the damage path. So
okay.
Wait, okay, hang on. Okay.
Well, we're watching on the radar. It looks like it's.
Oh wow! Oh my gosh! We are seeing a tremendous damage path here at 2 or 3 completely demolished homes, homes with roofs missing. Looks like it went through a relatively sparsely populated. Holy cow!
Oh, good.
Relatively. Good, Blake. Get that shot. There you go. Tilt down just a little bit. This is very bad, folks. This is certainly, I bet this will go down on a par with the Ruskin Heights tornado from 57. Hold on, Blake. Okay, we're just, we're on the edge of all this, and we're getting into a little bit of turbulence. It's nothing real serious, but it is hard to hold. I don't think we're going to be able to get back and give you another picture of that.
I understand. Well, I've been told we're rolling the tape on this, Johnny.
Yeah, and we're rolling in here as well. So
okay.
Why don't we break this shot off for just a minute? We'll see if we can get back with you once we get to a little less flying intensive situation, and we're going to give you some damage pictures here in just a second.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Johnny. Now, again, this tornado is at least the size of an F2, maybe an F3, based on the damage assessed there. Johnny Rollins is still tracking that storm. Do we still have Matt Lawbaum on the air? Is Matt ready to go by? Is he tracking the storm on the air or not? Okay. Anyway, let me tell you, Parkville.
Right now, and just south and east of Wyandotte County Lake, you can see
there are trees on top of homes right now, trees that are snapped in two, and I'm talking about large trees. Quite a few homes in this neighborhood right now. I'm in the middle of the street right now. We've heard the tornado sirens here for at least a good, I'd say 10 or 15 minutes. I'm in the middle of the street right now, and I'm looking at homes with significant roof damage. I'm looking at windows that are blown out. I'm looking at the side of one house gone. As I look down the street to the south here, in this edge of Gladstone, fairly close to North Brighton, fairly close to North Antioch, I mean, there are just trees all over the place. There are chunks of fences that are gone. There are there's backyard furniture, pool furniture scattered about this neighborhood right now. People are just now starting to walk out of their homes just to see what it looks like at this point. We can still hear sirens in this neighborhood. They don't necessarily sound like the tornado sirens that we've been hearing for the past 10 or 15 minutes in this part of the Northland. I suspect these are emergency responders right now. It doesn't appear, and of course my vantage point is quite limited. I mean, I can give you a snapshot of what this neighborhood looks like, but not a heck of a lot more. But it does sound as if police and fire are very, very close. And I can't tell you if there's anybody hurt, certainly at this point, but there is, as I say, quite a bit of tree damage. Homes have been damaged in this part of Gladstone. And again, I'm in the 4000 block of Northeast 63rd in the Carriage Hills area of Gladstone.
All right, while you've been talking, we're looking at a live shot of News Chopper 9, Chris, and Johnny Rollins did a great job panning left and right. I do not at this time see the tornado on the ground, but it looks like I saw the wall cloud there for a second, and it dropped out. A funnel cloud dropped out. But we are looking at a live shot of the thunderstorm itself right over Gladstone area. And it's the same system that's moving along I-35 northeast around 35 miles an hour, heading for right areas like near Liberty. And those of you in Liberty, you look at this, you got to take shelter immediately, because this is the same monstrous storm that brought the severe weather and also the damaging winds and tornado that we had in Wyandotte and Leavenworth.
The base of that cloud has lifted as well. Right now we are just north of, well, let's see, we're going to be past Riverside. And no, we're right north of Riverside. There you go. And more damage along here, not as extensive as what we saw a while ago. It looks as though, however, we have a lot of trees down, a lot of roofs gone, some outbuildings that appear to have been damaged. We're just to the south of I-29 and just approaching 9 Highway. As we said, it looked like Park Hill High School was spared. But on I-20, well, more damage down into the left there, Blake. Let's go ahead and pull back a little bit. We'll also bring into view the highway. This is going to be southbound I-29 right at 9 Highway. Looks like we might have a car or two off the road, and there is a lot of debris here as well. So we have tracked this now all the way from near the Woodlands in KCK. It did look like it perhaps went along the river for a while just south of Parkville, then just to the east of Parkville, back onto land, up across a couple of bluffs just to the north of Park Hill High School, or Park Hill South, I believe that would be, if I'm not mistaken. I might have that wrong. It's the one at 635 and 9 Highway. And now we are continuing to track. It looks as though, now I'm looking for more damage here across 169 Highway, and I don't see it. This is the Broadway extension. Blake, let's go ahead and pull up forward here and see if we can spot any damage in front of us. And right now, I see it looks like some trees perhaps stripped of some leaves, but we're not. There's a lot of debris on the ground, but it looks like that may have been deposited from earlier touchdowns. There's some folks standing outside of one of these neighborhoods, but as you can see right ahead of us, we're not seeing any extensive damage. So we'll continue up here to the north and east and see if we can find some more damage. But at this point, it looks as though this may have been, and this is preliminary, of course, this may have been the area where the tornado lifted. And again, we at least at this point have not seen any further damage to the north and east as we approach. It looks like it's going to be North Broadway at Englewood. We're not seeing any damage.
Johnny, you were really showing some amazing destruction there. I'm sad to see it and sad to hear about it, but I've got to know where you're located and what we're looking at there.
All right, I'm going to give you an approximate location here, Peter. It appears to be North Brighton, about Northwest 68th Street, or North 68, I should say. Tornado just came through here. You may have been able to see from some of the video just a couple of seconds ago that neighbors going from house to house searching for people in these homes that are completely destroyed. And again, it looked like we arrived, and that was just a couple, 2 or 3 minutes ago, as folks were coming out of their houses after taking shelter from the tornado. Extensive damage here. Not a very, well, we'll put it at about 1/4 of a mile wide path here, maybe a little bit less than that. We did see we lost really the track of the severe destruction over as the tornado crossed the river just to the east of Parkville, went up over a few bluffs, and we actually, it looks like it may have picked up for a bit as it passed Park Hill South, I believe it is, High School, and then on to the north and east from there. It looks like it touched down again just to the east of Antioch, and these are all approximate locations to the north of I-29, and then as it continued on to the north and east, widened again, and from a very, very narrow and minor damage path, just some trees and shingles pulled off of roofs, now to what you're seeing here, which is extensive damage, although narrower than what we saw over in KCK. From here, it appears as though it has taken out some trees in some wooded area here, and continued on north and east, which is what we're going to do, and see if we can get up in near the Liberty area. We are not too far to the south and west of Liberty, and it looks as though through a park here, we have some baseball diamonds and such. It continued on to the north and east from here. We're seeing some more damage ahead of us as well, and we'll continue on to the well, and you wouldn't imagine, you couldn't believe the amount of emergency equipment that is heading in this direction from all feeder routes, every primary thoroughfare, the interstates and side streets. So extensive damage here again. Let's go ahead and pull back a little bit, Blake. Tilt down, and you're going to see a bunch here along, and I'm not even sure what road we're over. This could be 68th Street as well. And off to the right, you're going to see a car overturned, and of course that is the absolute worst place to be.
The possibility of rotation from about Wood Heights through Excelsior to east of Mosby and just to the east of Liberty, where Johnny Rollins is very close to in News Chopper 9 with some of the damage that's already occurred, and possibly a little update from his vantage point, just to make sure that what we see here is exactly what's happening over parts of Clay County. Johnny, what do you have?
All right, Brian, we're seeing very minimal damage here in Liberty. Now, that is all relative, certainly in comparison to the devastation in KCK. We are only seeing trees down. There is damage to some buildings, as you can see, but the tornado obviously much weaker passing through the Liberty area. We do have some roofs damaged. It did look like perhaps some relatively substantial damage to a few buildings, but again, nothing like the devastation that we saw in KCK. We are right behind where this obviously just occurred, as we showed you some pictures a little while ago in Gladstone of folks who were just emerging from their homes after taking shelter from the tornado. Many of the homes in that neighborhood completely demolished. But again, most of what we have seen here in Liberty is the lighter damage. Obviously, the tornado by this time had weakened. It looks like once it goes, in fact, it passed just to the north of William Jewell College, and then perhaps down a bluff and then off into rural areas. So this tornado pretty much nonstop from KCK all the way on an east-northeast path over to Liberty. But thankfully in Liberty, the damage does not look too serious at this point.